A lot of foreigners are shocked by how Germans celebrate New Year's. I felt right at home. In this video, we will explore how Germans celebrate New Year's and what makes it so crazy, and we will give you some tips so you can stay safe during this time. Hey, I'm Jen, and I'm from Guatemala.
And I'm Yvonne, and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we help expats settle into life in Germany more smoothly. So, you are here the German, so you're here to testify to the accounts.
All right, we'll do.
So before we jump into the New Year's Eve celebration, let's give a little bit of background information and what happens to the days prior to New Year's Eve. Okay. The first thing is that you need to plan well in advance if you want to celebrate like a true German. And why is this?
I would say if you want to celebrate with others, right?
Okay,
if you want to celebrate by yourself, you don't need to plan in advance. It's your own party. But if you want to celebrate it with German friends, how about that? Or in a German venue, like at a club, at a special dinner, or I don't know what, then you really need to plan in advance.
Yes, for example, my birthday is very close to Christmas, and it's a big no-no in Germany to celebrate your birthday before your birthday. So we thought for my 30th birthday, okay, what are we gonna do? Because I wasn't allowed to celebrate it before. So we came up with the idea, let's have a New Year's Eve party to celebrate both New Year's Eve and my birthday. And this was planned for, I don't know, remember the year. That means I'm not gonna tell you how old I am. And Yvonne asked me in February, you should send the invitation now.
I didn't ask you, I urged you.
Yeah, you pretty much pushed it. I'm like, I can't send the invitation now. It's February and we're planning a party for New Year's Eve, which is in I don't know how many months. You have to send it now. I pushed back and I was forced kind of to send the invitation in March. And I sent it both to German friends and not German friends. All the German friends replied, super good that you tell me now because I was planning already for New Year's Eve. It's in my calendar, I'll be there. And I heard nothing from all the other international friends. And at work, I was asking some hey, did you get my invitation to the birthday party? Oh, that was for real? I thought that was just a joke. Jen, how am I supposed to know if I'm gonna be there in December? I don't even know where I'm gonna be next month. So this shows that if you wanna have German friends at your New Year's Eve party, you should plan well in advance.
Yep, because Germans plan in advance, and if they have other plans, well, they won't come to your party or won't hang out with you.
That's exactly true. Yeah.
So that's one of those dates that people want to do something. Obviously, some hang out at home alone, but that's, I would say, not the general gist of it.
Yeah, to share it with others, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is so if you want to have a party or go to a party, plan well in advance. So a few days before New Year's Eve, let's say you are working and you're going to an office. Most likely, a lot of people take holidays between, let's say, the 20th or late 20th of December until next year, January. Mm-hmm. So when people leave, actually, they say these two things to you.
If it's before Christmas, they would say Frohes Fest.
Uh-huh.
Because you cannot say Frohe Weihnachten yet, because it's not Weihnachten yet, right?
Mm-hmm,
but they would say Frohes Fest und Guten Rutsch.
Guten Rutsch. When I first heard that, I'm like, good slide. Okay, I don't know what that means. So this is actually what Germans say to wish you kind of a good slide into the next year.
A good transition, yes.
Let's do that. A good slide. Maybe that's where we got it. So Guten Rutsch is one thing that you will hear a lot during that time of the year.
And not only from your colleagues, but also if you say on the 29th or 30th of December, you go out to shops, the supermarket, bakeries, wherever. You will most likely always at the checkout or when you interact with people always hear the Guten Rutsch.
The Guten Rutsch. So now you know. Guten Rutsch is definitely two words that you need to learn. Okay, so let's say Christmas is over. We're talking about New Year's Eve. So what happens a few days before the 31st of December?
Well, you prepare. So that usually means obviously you buy some sort of food for a special dinner. But more importantly, if you're into that, not everyone does, but you will certainly see it in the supermarkets. You will start seeing fireworks being sold.
Okay.
And when we say fireworks, it's not like these little crackers that you put on the floor and they twizzle and they make a poof or something. Those as well, definitely.
Well, yeah.
But you actually see full size, big size fireworks on a stick that you shoot into the sky. Mm-hmm. And it is legal to buy them when you're over 18. Mm-hmm. And Germans will buy them and spend a lot of money with them and stock up.
Okay, So, and this is the only time throughout the year that you see fireworks in supermarkets?
It's the only time it's allowed, yes.
Yes. And would you only buy them in supermarkets or somewhere else?
personally, I've only bought them in supermarkets.
Okay, yeah, okay. Because in Guatemala, also, we do a lot of fireworks, but we have special fireworks stands that you find throughout the city. So there are like these pop-up shops where you can buy the fireworks
Yeah, no,
from.
we don't have that because they're not licensed then, you know?
Well, we like to think they're licensed. Okay. Okay, so then it's the 31st of December, and then how do you call this day? Because you don't call it New Year's Eve, right?
No.
How do you call it in German?
We call it Silvester.
Sylvester Stallone.
No, I was going to say no Sylvester Stallone, just Silvester. Not Silvester, Silvester. It's a soft S.
Ah, okay.
Silvester.
Sylvester, yeah.
So a typical sense would be, was macht ihr für Silvester?
What are you
Wollen wir
doing
Silvester zusammen feiern? Like, do we want to celebrate New Year's Eve together?
Yeah, and remember, you need to ask that in February, obviously. Okay, so we land on the 31st of December, and let's see how Germans actually celebrate New Year's. So how would you start the day?
So let's picture that we are celebrating with friends at a private house.
Okay.
Let's keep it simple. That's
Okay.
like the setting. And well, the day is completely normal. Maybe you work half a day, maybe you don't. And in the afternoon, you start like preparing mentally. And that is usually by watching our favorite TV show.
Dinner for one. Oh my God, we talk about this, I think, in the Culture Shocks or Christmas video. I don't remember fully. And Dinner for One, actually, after we said it for the first time, we had a lot of comments explaining what it was. And now we did more research, so thank you for that. So Dinner for One was created actually by a British theater writer. And he wrote this play. It's a two-person play. But then a German TV broadcaster saw this and recorded it in 1962.
So it is a two-person play. It's British actors.
Yes.
And the play is in English.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, well, I was going to get to that. But anyway, so this German TV producer recorded it, created this 18-minute black and white, because it is in black and white, videotape back in the day, right? And for some reason, it became popular to put that on TV on replay. So every 18 minutes, you probably see some ads, and then again, Dinner for One, Dinner for One.
It's not that extreme. It's like usually it's like 7 times or so on the 31st of December that you can watch it.
Okay, thanks for correcting me. I'm under the impression that it's all the time on.
Well, on YouTube you can't replay it.
Yeah, there you can actually keep on replaying.
But on public television, on the broadcast, you usually find it on the public stations like 7 times a day or something like that.
I don't know. For me, I don't find it funny at all. I don't understand what's the sense of humor behind it, but it's very well loved. And also throughout the research, very reliable source, Wikipedia. We found that also in other comments in other videos have let us know that Dinner for One is not just very popular in Germany, but also Austria, Switzerland, the Nordic countries, and Estonia. So that's super interesting. Yep. And funnily enough, it has just I think in 2018 been shown on TV in Britain for the first time. So it's like a British thing that the British don't know about, and it's super popular in other parts, so it's super interesting. So you definitely watch Dinner for One in most of the cases.
Exactly, yeah. You watch Dinner for One, and then you start preparing dinner, which usually, if again it's in a crowd setting, it is a shared meal. And that typically would be raclette or fondue, which both have not really German names because they are originally from Switzerland, but we've totally adapted them, and it's like a shared meal. We can maybe talk about that in more detail.
Yes, I love raclette. It's my favorite winter food, I think.
In
another video. It has to do with melted cheese, so there you go. And then what do you do?
Well, after dinner, I would say the party starts. You usually make space. You move your tableware at dinner a little bit away. You make space for dancing and...
Dance? German dance?
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Of course.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
For dancing and, of course, more drinking. It's a very, in Germany, you say feucht, fröhlich. Well, feucht is like moist.
Okay.
And fröhlich is happy. So it's a moist, happy evening.
Okay. So you drink a lot during the evening is what you're trying to say. Okay.
If you would say it's ein feucht, fröhlicher Abend, it's like an evening with a lot of alcohol.
Okay. That's a very good translation.
There you go.
That's better. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then?
And then, well, we have fun, and we're in a good mood, and then we, of course, have an eye on the time, on the clock.
Ooh, and here's my question. Do you actually then stream something or put something on the TV for the countdown, or watch a ball fall from New York?
We have no ball dropping, no.
Okay.
No. So, no, we keep an eye on the clock, and I would say 10 to midnight latest, sometimes also even earlier, we would exit the house, the flat, and go to the street, the garden, whatever you have, bundle up in maybe not your best clothes, and wait for countdown.
Aha. So far, New Year's Eve hasn't sounded so crazy, right? Starting midnight is when the crazy stuff happens.
I'm kind of holding back, to narrate, to build up here to the climax. No, I mean, if you step outside 10 to midnight, you already see what's going on. Because the fireworks that we mentioned earlier, they go crazy. And typically, for whatever reason, in Germany, people don't hold on to their firework until midnight, but they start shooting it already at 11. So you will already see fireworks here and there, hear them, see them in the sky. And the thing that happens is, now I just described a home setting, and that is totally fine. But if you have a garden, but if you, let's say,
go to the city
center, which is also very, very typical. If you live in a city, you don't do it in your neighborhood street. That is absolutely not a thing. But you go to here in Düsseldorf.
Why is that not a thing? Is that not allowed, or?
Yeah, because you're not allowed to shoot it at buildings.
Ah, but you're allowed to shoot it at people.
No. So you would go here in Düsseldorf to the Rhine, where the bridges are, where the big promenades are, where there's a lot of open space, and set up your fireworks there. Either if you're shooting them yourself, or if you want to observe them, right? And in the beginning, you have fun. And what happens is that we usually take like empty Sekt bottles, because they're heavier than wine bottles. They've got like more bulkiness down here, and stick the rockets that shoot up, like take the thin wooden stick and stick them inside and put them on the floor. Now what happens is sometimes these rockets, they are longer and they are heavier, and then they tilt. But obviously if you've already incinerated the rocket, you don't want to touch it anymore. So it just keeps lying on the floor, and it doesn't shoot up, but it shoots sideways.
So I would say that it happens. Okay, so at this point, let me interrupt you for a second. So I would say I grew up with fireworks. That's why I felt at home, because New Year's and Christmas in Guatemala, fireworks is a thing. And we also not only these rockets, but we also have these things called machine guns.
That's crazy. We don't have that.
Which is literally like like firecrackers, like tied up to each other, and they all make a big bang. It's really a lot of fun.
They're like 50 to 100 meters long.
You can get these, yeah. So here's a picture of me with my very big firecracker machine gun from Guatemala. But the thing is that we go out actually to the front of our house or to the garden. That's where we usually burn the fireworks, and we make sure that there's no people around us. Whether we also put the stuff in the bottle or whatever, we make sure it's not going to hurt anyone. In Germany, for some reason, people are wasted at this moment, right?
Exactly.
Also in Guatemala, I would argue. But for some reason, so we did this once. We went to the city center, we had our fireworks, and we set in this grass area. We were sure there was no one around. We had set everything up, security measure, blah, blah. We were gonna start ready to shoot the fireworks when we realized, oh my God, in a matter of 2 minutes, we had a group of 20 different people around us, behind us, in front of us, next to us, and they all had fireworks pointing towards us, because we were pointing towards the river. So we're like, okay, this is weird. Let's just start burning our fireworks. We start burning our fireworks. Woo, it's a lot of fun, until suddenly it became like a war zone. Suddenly there were so many fireworks flying everywhere. We were in the middle of it so much that we started packing all of our things, and we started running away from that area because people didn't have consideration. So so that was really freaky. It's where are we and why are we being attacked at this moment?
And it changes like that. It's exactly as Jen described. Peaceful in the beginning, everything's under control, and suddenly the moment midnight strikes, boom, everything explodes, and it's a war zone. It's madness, and it is of course highly dangerous. You will have alarms and fire, you'll have fire trucks, you'll have ambulances, you'll have police everywhere.
What? Why?
And people just go crazy, and for whatever reason, as controlled as the Germans are, on New Year's Eve, that is not controlled at all. Out of the picture.
So I have built this rule in my head, right? Germans go crazy in 2 instances, what I have seen, right? Number 1 is Carnival here in the NRW, Rhineland area that we live in, and number 2 is New Year's. Things just really get out of control really fast. So yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, why does that happen? Because it's kind of like letting loose, shooting away. I've heard once, when you do fireworks, it's like shooting away the ghosts of the year or the bad years for a good start to the new year. I have no idea. But it's just a thing. So it is really dangerous. It is crazy. And this is the number 1 reason why most foreigners are like, what is going on? How can this be legal in Germany when everything is so controlled, rules respected, but not on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
And that's just the reality. And now comes the question, how do you deal with it? And how do you have fun while experiencing this without putting yourself into danger?
Yeah, we will give you some tips on how to stay safe at the end of this video, so make sure to stick for that one. But before we jump into that, I just want to point out that why would you go to the city center? So unlike other parts of the world, right, some cities have their own fireworks show, and then you go to the city center and watch, and you're like, oh, it's so pretty, oh, Happy New Year's, and you hug with people. Not in Germany. As we have mentioned, private people buy the fireworks and they go to the city center and burn them there. I would say in our our experience, Berlin is the only city in the Brandenburg Tor, like the Brandenburg Tor, where they actually have a big event and there's like coordinated fireworks from the city that is controlled. No one else is burning fireworks except for the authorized people, and that was fine. Even though you were in a crowd of people, it was fine because the fireworks were literally going up and not towards you. I would argue if you're like not in the Brandenburg area and you're outside of that, and it's going to be just as crazy. So that's super interesting, right? Because unlike other cities in Germany, that doesn't happen as often. Additional to that, for example, my very first New Year's here in Germany, in Düsseldorf, we went to the city center with international friends, and we were actually in front of like the Rhine Tower, because there was some event or some concert, I don't remember. And there we were packed with people, and there we were protected because the fireworks were happening like outside of us and not within us, so that was okay. And when midnight struck, of course this madness started, but I realized that everyone started also getting out their like bottles of Sekt from like their backpack or they're in the middle of their jacket, and we were like, we forgot our like bottle of Sekt. So that's also very traditional.
So I was going to say, on midnight, so let's forget about the fireworks. On midnight, what happens is you open Sekt. Sekt is the German sparkling wine that is not champagne. It's like the Prosecco in Italy, the Cremant in France. In German, it's called Sekt. And that is the typical drink to have at midnight. And I don't think you would have anything else. And even if you say, I don't drink Sekt, even if you would say, I don't drink Sekt, you would still get a glass and you still have one sip at least and then continue your other drink. So that is 100% what happens on New Year's at midnight. And also you go and hug everyone around you, whether it's your friends, whether it's strangers. It's just a hugging competition pretty much. And say, frohes neues Jahr. That's what you say.
Frohes neues Jahr. Then it's when you say Happy New Year.
Exactly. Frohes neues Jahr, or just a short version, frohes neues.
Okay. And Silvester's over.
Sometimes you'd also say Prosit.
Prosit. Prosit.
I think it depends on the areas of Germany.
Okay.
But for me, it's always been frohes neues.
Okay. What do you say in your area of Germany? That's curious. Yeah. So then midnight is there. You're drinking your Sekt. You're pretty much drunk if you drink alcohol at this point. And I would say that's where the celebration is.
And then the party continues. So New Year's
I was going to say over?
No, absolutely not. So Silvester celebration is like a night-long celebration. Party continues until 2, 3, whatever time in the morning. And usually also what you would do is like shortly after midnight, when you have wished well wishes to the people around you, I would always call my parents and my sister, like my family, to
if
wish
the
them,
network allows, of course,
to wish them Happy New Year. And exactly that is the one time also that I have frequently noticed that the telecommunication networks in Germany break down because they're overwhelmed, because I'm not the only one wanting to wish my family Happy New Year.
Yes. Also, pro tip to that, actually, I have realized also in the past that I've been stuck in situations where we were supposed to take a taxi or go somewhere and the network is just down. So be aware of that. If you're somewhere, just realize that you won't be able to flag down a taxi most likely, or call any taxi, Uber, or any service, because everything is pretty much chaotic. I would argue in a lot of parts of the world this happens, right? Yes, but just as a reminder that New Year's is busy also in Germany, with networks are packed and taxis and everything are booked out. So you gotta walk or wait until like the early morning to be able to get home.
One more reason why it is such a big celebration and there is like no regret pretty much is because the 1st of January, which then we call Neujahr, or Neujahrstag, like the day of the New Year, is always a holiday. Yay. So no matter what day of the week it is, it's always a holiday. People don't work, and that's why they go crazy the night before.
So the 2nd is when you still probably, you party so hard that most likely the 2nd you still have a hangover. If
it depends.
So most likely after this whole celebration, you will go back to the office, obviously, right, to work if you go to an office to work. But if not, if you have German friends, most likely you will receive this very cute thing, which is a marzipan pig, which is supposed to be good luck, right?
Yes,
for the
100%.
New Year. Every time I get a marzipan pig, I want to like eat it because I love marzipan, and Germans tell me, no, you're not supposed to eat it. So the marzipan pig really sits on my desk for the year until I have to throw it out because probably it's too old.
Definitely around the New Year's time in Germany, there's also lots of superstition, customs. We also have the resolutions, part of the culture. So these little marzipan piggies are just one example of how you can see those also in the supermarkets. One more thing that you might notice in your first days back in the office, or also like in the local bakeries and friends, is the typical Neujahrskrapfen. So Krapfen is a word that refers to a typical...
simply put, a filled donut.
A filled donut.
That's what it is.
Which in my part of Germany, it's called a Berliner, for whatever reason.
And in Berlin, it's called...
a Krapfen, I would say.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
so that's
But
funny.
it still has 5 other words. So also here, let us know how you call the Krapfen or Berliner. And it's typical to eat those either still at New Year's, like after the countdown, either on the 1st or 2nd. That's a very typical thing.
Oh, they're so delicious. They're very good. So they have like usually sugar on top of them, and it's filled with either strawberry or something. It's very
Marmalade.
nice. Or marmalade. It's very nice. Cool. So now, if I want to go to the city center and celebrate New Year's, how do I keep safe?
How do you keep safe? And how do you experience the madness? Have the fun, have the party, but stay safe.
Yes.
So there's various
Don't
ways.
go. No, I'm kidding.
No, absolutely go because you want to experience it, right? But there's various ways. One, as I mentioned like before, in this private setting and you're in a garden, stay in the garden where either only your participating group is shooting fireworks and obviously it's way more controlled. B, if you go out to the city center, then really be cautious how you move. Don't do the mistake that we did, that we position in the middle of a grass area because there's no one else there. But position yourself with your back to a wall.
Yes.
That means that you totally have everything inside that happens around you, and the likelihood of you being shot at is very slim. It's not impossible, but it's slimmer. Because people shoot out into the open area.
Yeah.
So that is, so move against the wall. So you have at least a 180-degree view and not the 360 that we had.
Yeah. Take your helmet. I'm kidding. Don't take your helmet.
Yeah, definitely don't take your fancy new winter jacket, but take something older that if you get a spark and it burns a hole that you are not sad about it.
Yeah.
Another, and that is actually, I would say, my favorite way, is that you book in advance, as we discussed, a ticket to one of the many boats that are crossing nearby rivers. Obviously, if you're living somewhere where there is a bigger river that have like these typical tourist boats, right? Because that is one of the best ways, because you're on a moving vessel where fireworks are forbidden. No one can shoot at you, but you see all of the madness in the sky from a very, very nice display. And usually those boats have like great parties with great music, great drink selection. Is just a fantastic way.
Oh, okay.
For New Year's, obviously those tickets are a bit more pricey, but it's a fantastic way to do New Year's. Don't go on bridges. If you're by a river and you want to see also the madness in the sky, bridges are the worst because people will be on the bridges and they will be shooting from the bridges and they will be shooting at you.
Yes, very good point. Yeah, so that's how you remain safe in Germany for New Year's. So if you thought that fireworks were illegal in Germany, they're not. They're alive and well, especially during New Year's. However, there are 5 really weird illegal things in Germany that you might think are legal. If you want to know what they are, check out our video of 5 illegal things in Germany. Until next time, cheers!